Thank you for giving us this time, Dato. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and hear your words of wisdom. But I think today's session, Dato. We wanted to basically get your explanation and insight into relationships. This business, as you've always pointed out, is about relationships. And we actually picked out a term called brotherly love. I'm not sure whether you always use that term as in jest or in a way to remind us that basically in this life you have a coach A and a coach B, and that concept explores a person's love for a brother or a friend or a partner. So basically in the upline downline relationship in this business, is tough love necessary?
Absolutely. I actually picked up the Coach A, Coach B reference from an ancient treatise written by Chanakya. Chanakya wrote a treatise called Arthashastra, which is very much like Sun-Tzu's Art of War. The Arthashastra, which is over 1,000 years old now, was written to study the art of relationships, among other things. And in it, there is a small treatise on the concept of relationship and the 4 aspects of relationships. So you have Sama, Dana, Peda, Dandam. These are the 4 levels in Sanskrit. Coach A and Coach B comes just from the first 2, Sama, Dana. So Sama means basically, you are approaching it. It comes from the word samadana, which means to approach it with affection, with balance, with equanimity. So you always try to be Coach A first in every relationship. The Coach A is someone who cajoles you, who basically praises you, compliments you, uplifts you in order to deal with a challenge, a problem. And Coach A is always welcome. And more often than not, we all have Coach A's at home as well. Moms tend to be very good Coach A's, So when you're down, when you need an uplifting, that's when Sama kicks in.
I thought moms are always Coach B, though.
Moms have the capacity to switch very fast. But dads tend to be pretty much angled towards Coach B's, and they are there to ensure that you toe the line. Of course, this is not in every household, but by rule of thumb. So Coach B is when you go from Sama to Dana. So in the practice of Dana, Sama, Dana, Peda, Dandam. In Dana, you become a little bit more harsh. You push the person to their limits. You challenge them. Sometimes aggravate them. You scold, you nag, So where you are on one hand pushing, now you start pulling. In essence, you make the person reach out within themselves to their limits. Now the objective of both Sama and Dana is to reach limits. And in a relationship, testing the limits is a very important process. Every relationship will have to test limits. If you don't test your limits, you don't even know you have one. A relationship is only bound by its limitations. Therefore, children begin testing their limits when they hit their teens. Somewhere around their mid-teens, this rebellious process kicks in and they start thinking that, okay, who am I? In that process of finding out who they are, they test their independence, they test their limitations, they test everything around them, so to speak. And you get that rebellious streak, so to speak. But every other relationship has the same. Husband and wife, absolutely, same thing. Partners, in business or otherwise, same thing. Even in sports, when you're a doubles partner, if you don't know what your partner can and cannot do, you cannot play with him. I.e. in badminton or tennis, you sometimes have to allow your partner to make mistakes so you know what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are. Are you with me? So Samadhana is that process of testing and forging a relationship. Forging is an important word. Again, like muscles being built, they need to be torn and grown back together. Likewise, in a relationship, you go through samadana, peda, dandam very often. It's a cycle that happens many, many times. In a marriage, it happens continuously. Peda is very important. When Sama and Dana, coach A and coach B, have been tried and lost, or wasted, or not effective enough, then Peda kicks in. Peda is where you find a third person to come in, and third person that both of you, the two parties, respect. So you go before a third person and say, okay, this is our problem. I think this way, he thinks that way. I have tried being nice, I have tried being tough. It's not working. Now, logically, the third person should then come in and support one or the other. And both of you should learn, both parties should learn to accept this. So this process of Peda is also very important. But then we are human beings. Even Peda fails, more often than not. And when that happens, you go to Dandam. Break the relationship, cool off for a while, start all over again. Are you with me? And it's the same thing, be it kids, be it parents, be it in any relationship at any level. Boss and employee, same thing. You have to go through that cycle. It's only when you go and you actually take the relationship to its breaking point, or even allow it to break, and forge it back again, does a new base come into place. And does mutual respect actually start to grow. So Coach A, Coach B are the stage 1 and stage 2 of this art of relationship. Sama, Dana, Peda, Dandam. And when Dandam is not, it's not an infinite end. It's a finite end, meaning you start all over again. Are you with me? So Dandam can happen daily, and that's not a problem. Do you get my point? The trick is to recognize that there are no back doors to your relationship. When you're starting a relationship, there should be no back door. As long as a back door is open, no relationship is safe. So when an employer and employee, for instance, classic case in point, when an employee thinks to his mind, I can always quit, he's already quit. When the employer, the boss, thinks I can fire him, he's already fired him. When both sides say, no, we need to work out our differences. I need to make something out of this guy. Firing is not in my mind. And the employee thinks quitting is not in my mind. Then you have a chance. In the network, exactly the same thing. There's no firing. You don't give up on the guy. Some people are slow learners. They take a while to acquire skills. They take a while to change. They take a while to be successful. So be it. Because these guys, the slow learners, they're the ones who stay the course. More often than not, the slow learners carry you the most. Are you with me? See, horses are good. Horses tire easily, which is why sometimes you need bulls to get the work done. So a bullock cart has an advantage. A horse carriage will get you somewhere really fast, but a bullock cart will make sure it keeps getting you there and back, which is a big difference. Are you with me? So likewise, when we come to this important aspect, Coach A and Coach B, it's a process that we all have to learn to improve upon. We have to learn to be Coach A's, we have to learn to be Coach B's, and we have to keep on going through this. And it's, it is a process that we have to accept will always be a cycle. And that cycle is what keeps us going.
Dato Sri, sometimes I think uplines tend to think that they must always be Coach B. So is there really room for kindness sometimes?
I have a simple rule when it comes to Coach B. Coach B is where you basically push a person, you hammer a person. Are you with me? You take them to the ropes, as it were. Never hammer someone you cannot pick up. If you are not able to basically uplift that person back to ground zero, there's no point in hammering. Hammering is necessary. There's no question in my mind that that process must happen. We all at some point or another have been hammered, and some of the best people in our lives are the ones who have done the hammering. Guardians, partners, friends, parents, they are the ones who have basically stepped out of the way to do that. Because hammering is a hard work. Hammering takes a lot out of you. It takes as much out of you as the person who's receiving it. So you must actually do it, when you have to do it. But never hammer anyone you cannot uplift. Simple rule. If you practice it, you cannot go wrong. So brotherly love, yes. But brotherly love is, when it's overplayed, that means you are not able to hammer them because of the so-called brotherly love, which in fact makes it then totally ineffective. Worse, you cannot uplift them back. Both ways it fails.
It's been a fantastic journey, 20 years now, Dato Sri. I'm not sure whether you imagined that you'll be sitting here on your 20th anniversary, celebrating with a huge group of people, networkers around the world, our staff. But you've always spoken of family. You've always spoken the importance of family, and you've always coined this term La Familia. How important was that, and why did you decide that you wanted to build something like a family, Dato?
It's interesting to note that sometimes the best members of your family are not related to you. Very important statement to keep in mind. The best members of your family never shared a roof with you. Family that is biological is chosen by God. In essence, it's out of your control whatsoever. It is something that you were born with, and you accept that. Why would you not accept the others, so to speak? Even they, when they come across your path at some point, where you meet them, there are no coincidences. If you don't believe in coincidences, then everyone is family. There are no accidents. Are you with me? Everyone is there by intent. Everyone is there for a purpose. So, every member of this path that you meet, there are 7 billion people on this planet. But at the most, at any given time in your lives, you are never going to have more than a couple of dozen, maybe up to 100. Are you with me? Now, because of Facebook, some of us go up to like 300 to 500 and so on. But just because someone likes you on Facebook doesn't make them family. Because someone follows you on Twitter doesn't make them family. Family is someone that you accept as your co-partner in the journey. Are you with me? Some aspect of the journey, be it your co-worker, be it your boss for that matter, or employee for that matter, whatever it is, they are in the same carriage with you from one spot to another. So wherever they are and however you connect with them, and when you are basically living your life with them, it means it's logical for you to accept them as family. Because ultimately, we are all equal in His eyes. Definitely, we are family to Him. If we are children to Him, then we are all family. Is that not logical? So, keeping that in mind, to me, to the people that I meet and that I have to connect with and communicate with and live my life with, they're all family. It's the way I choose to live my life. So La Familia works.
Clearly, Dato Sri. Dato Sri, being a family member, being close to you, Dato Sri, is that something that someone has an advantage or extra special, or how does that work?
It usually means their tolerance for pain is very high. If they can actually be that close for that length of time, their tolerance for pain is pretty high. Which is also very indicative of their own devotion, their own dedication to finding the purpose within them. Are you with me? Just as I am today very grateful to my coach to my discipline master who passed away a few weeks ago. I am in so many ways grateful for the energy that he spent, for the care. But most of it, it's not that he was affectionate. He was tough. His idea of showing affection to me was, okay, run around and, feel another 5 times. Are you with me? Drop and give me 50. That's affection. But it pushed me to my limit. And he was there to be there with us when we thought we were giving up. Likewise, I've had many other coaches in my life, different people who stepped forward and pushed me. I'm grateful to them all. So those who basically come into my inner circle, so to speak, are going to find that I am of the same metal. I'm about to push them to their limits. And if you don't want to be testing your limits all the time, then you want to stay out of my circle. But then, if you're going to be testing your limits, and if your limits are going to be growing, then I assure you, that's when you are totally alive. That's when living makes real sense. So I don't think that the people around me in my inner circle, so to speak, they don't put up with the pain because of the pain itself. They put up with it because it's the pain of growing up. It's the pain of building new muscles. And I think that the loyalty that they have to me and I have to them is forged in this process.
Thank you, Dato Sri. Thank you for the great words of wisdom. I thought we have got a great audience here today, and I was hoping you would be able to take some questions from them.
Yes.
Can we have the first question?
Dato Sri, I understand that I'm responsible to find that one mentor who can push me to become the best version of me. What happens, Dato Sri, if I cannot find anyone?
In our philosophy, in the East, it's not us that goes out to find them. They find us. In the West, when you want to learn, aerobics or fitness or whatever, you go find a place that coaches you. You want to study some school or some design school or being a chef or whatever, you go find someone who teaches you. But in the East, our belief is that as you keep improving who you are, you become a perfect vessel for that particular growth that you are aspiring for. Then your mentor, your guide, your teacher finds you. So what you actually keep working on is yourself. You keep working on, believe me, they will find you. If you keep working on yourself, keep pushing your limits and keep targeting to find that purpose in your life and improving upon that, then inevitably you will find yourself in a place where there will be, because you see, teachers come in many forms. The ultimate so-called teacher that you're looking for is not the one who will drop into your lap instantly. On your way to finding that person will be 10 other people. And you can, if you're prepared to learn from anyone, you don't have to worry, because I guarantee you, at every turn, right now, in the middle of your life, wherever you are, there are teachers around you. Are you with me? There's a very interesting story where a great philosopher in India was asked whose teacher was, because he had just finished an incredible debate, and his vast knowledge was known to, was a surprise to all. So they asked him, who is your teacher? He says, I have 16 teachers. And he started with his pet dog. And I tell you right now, I learned stuff from my dogs that no one else can teach me. Their loyalty, their devotion, the love, the constant, they never carry grudges. Are you getting my point? So you can learn from stone. Make yourself the best vessel. And teachers are like water. Water will find its way. So will your mentor. Okay?
That's very powerful, Dato. Thank you very much. Thank you. Can we have the next question, please?
Dato Sri, I'd like to congratulate you and your team on this pinnacle, the 20th anniversary of this company. I bet in your 20-year journey, you have been a loving coach and a coach that has been very strong. The question I have is that for me it's quite helpful to have a loving coach rather than a coach that's strong. Is there a preference or am I missing something, Dato Sri?
I think a balance is always necessary. The loving coaches, are usually mums. In a classic case in point is all our loving coach is a mum. And the limitation of a mum is that because she's constantly looking out for you ahead of herself sometimes, is that it's more short-term than long-term. There are things that the loving coaches basically cannot do, which is to push us to our absolute limits. You don't actually perform and get A's because you are being fed well and being pampered and spoiled. It may be something that you give upon a reward after you get your A's. Are you getting my point? But on the process of getting the A's, there's some level of pushing that must happen. So for you to perform in life per se, it's more the other coaches that will take you across. The tough coaches. The tough coaches are the ones who are going to, because ultimately our biggest problem is that we are our own loving coaches. Nobody can be more loving to you, Calvin, than yourself. The most loving coach that Calvin has in his life is Calvin. Are you with me? So when you are your own most loving coach, you are the one who stops before the refrigerator on your way up to the bed to say, "Left one more ice cream before I go." I'm sure I can be forgiven tomorrow, no problem. You are the one who basically breaks your own rules. Why? It's okay. It's fine. You don't need any more loving coaches. You need the tough ones. Are you with me? So you need somebody who can give you a kick up your butt as opposed to patting it all the time. Are you with me?
Yasri, thank you very much. It's been a truly engaging session and we hope we can sit with you again soon. Thank you very much, Dato Sri. Thank you.